Welcome back. In this video, we're going to continue with our workflow, and we are now going to expand our workflow to call a transcript API that I already have an account for and an API key to transcribe our video. To use this service is completely free. You can create an account at transcript.vibecodingacademy.club. I'll leave a link to the service in the description of the video. So I'm going to go back to Claude Code. What I'm going to do first, I am going to grab the instructions on how to use this API. So down here is a developer's link. I'm going to click on the developer's link, and I'm just going to copy all the instructions here, and I'm going to give these to Claude Code. There we go. So I'm going to copy that, and now let's go back to Claude Code, and that's in my terminal. Now I'm going to say I want to use this transcription API to transcribe the YouTube video. Right? Here are the docs, and here is my API key. Actually, I won't even do that. I'll just say, tell me what else you need. So let's paste in the details, and let's wait for Claude Code to let me know what else it needs. So it's saying that it needs my API key and the email address of the account. So let me give it my API key. So I'm going to say, here is my API key. I'll paste that in. Here is the email, and I'll type that in. Okay, so it should now update the workflow and give us a new file. That's what I'm expecting. So let's see what it does. Now it's saying here it's going to update the workflow to receive the YouTube URL. So that's already working. It's going to queue the job to transcribe the video. It's going to poll to wait for it to complete. It's going to return a transcript text in the response. Now, it's saying, if I go back to the top here, it's saying that it's going to poll every 10 seconds. Now, I know that this API takes about 15 minutes to transcribe a video, okay, because it throttles requests. And I'm going to let it know 10 seconds is too frequent. So it's done everything, but I'm just going to say, okay, so it looks like it's already noted this. Since the transcript can take up to 15 minutes, the webhook response will be delayed until the transcript is ready. All right, so I'm going to say, look, I don't want you to wait 10 seconds. So let's say, since the documentation states the job could take up to 15 minutes, polling every 10 seconds is too frequent, right? There's no need for me to add that type of a load to my server for no reason, right? So let's poll every, let's say 8 minutes. Let's see what it says, and we'll just take the new file, and then we'll include that in our workflow. Okay, so both wait nodes now poll every 8 minutes instead of 10 seconds. So re-import and activate, and then let it know when it's ready. Now, I want to understand what's the two nodes that it's got. So explain what the two nodes are doing. Why do we have two nodes? I just want to understand a bit more about what it's created. Okay, so let's see. The first wait node is the initial delay after queuing the job. It waits 8 minutes before checking the status for the first time, since we know the job won't be ready. Okay, so the first node should get a response instantly, right? With job ID and status, such as pending, as per, I've read the documents. So, okay, let's say, so it should have to wait 8 minutes to get the first response that gives it the job ID. There we go. It returns immediately with the job ID and a pending status. So there's no reason to wait before the first status check. The initial wait node should be removed, and we go straight from queuing the job to checking the status. Then only wait 8 minutes on a retry. So it's redoing our file. Okay, so let's wait for it to create our new file, and then we can update the workflow. So you can see how easy it is to create these workflows with Claude Code. So re-import, activate, and let me know when you're done, and we can test. So I will now go back into the workflow and re-import the file. Okay, so I'm going to deactivate, and now I'm going to go back and re-import the file. We can click on this three dots menu and click on import from file. There's our file, time's updated, I'm going to click on open. Actually, we'll get rid of the old webhook data. This is now what it's created. So let's see if we can move around. Okay, so this is the updated workflow. It's similar from the starting point. Version 1, we just had these first two nodes. Now, what it's doing is it's actually calling the API that actually starts transcribing the video. You can see that what it's doing once it queues a job, then it checks the status, and that's a loop. It continues to check the status until the job says it is complete, then it grabs the transcript, and then it responds back to us. So I'm going to reactivate this, okay, and I'm going to, it's already saved. Now we can go back to the Claude Code terminal and say done, retry, and we want to see now this running the workflow. So what we'll do is we can now go back into n8n and go to executions and wait for, so here we go, it's already queued the job, right? This is the current run, okay, it's successful. Actually, this is not the current run, this is the current run, it's still running. So let's just see it running. And, okay, so you can see it's ran all these steps, and now it's going through the loop. Remember that it's doing this every 8 minutes. So once it is complete, then it will run this node here. So I'm not gonna wait on this recording for 8 minutes, okay? You can see it's going through, and it's just waiting, right? It's waiting for 8 minutes. It'll check the status. Is it true or not? If it's false, come back, wait again, go back around. Okay, keep looping every 8 minutes until it gets a completed status. Then I'll grab the transcript and send it back to us. So I'm going to pause the recording, wait for this to complete, then we'll be able to see the transcript. Okay? And we go back to Claude Code. Claude Code is also now waiting for the workflow to complete. It's also in a waiting state. Okay? So I'll pause the recording and I'll resume once we get the transcript back. Okay. So our workflow has been running for quite some time, and I haven't got a tick on this particular node, meaning that it hasn't got the transcript yet. So it could have timed out. It has been running for quite some time. Now, there are a couple of issues that we need to be aware of. We have been polling, and this poll runs every 8 minutes, and AI agents don't necessarily like endpoints that take so long to respond. And so there is a way to fix that. But I want to go back to Claude Code first and let Claude Code know that this essentially has not come back. So Claude Code is also saying a couple of things here. So Claude Code saying that the command timed out, it hit a 10-minute maximum timeout. Okay, you can see that here. When it's run this command, it's got a timeout of 10 minutes. Okay, and the transcript API could take up to 15 minutes. So there is a way to fix that, and we'll come into that in a moment. But I want to let Claude Code know the workflow did not complete and has not returned a transcript. Okay. So check the code and give me a new version. Now, we're also going to address the concern that Claude Code has raised, and it has said that holding the webhook open for so long isn't reliable. And it wants us to, well, it wants to change the workflow so that it responds immediately with the job ID, and then another process polls and stores the transcript in the background using the job ID, not inside the workflow. Okay. Now, there is a way to fix this. The transcript API has the configuration allowing us to configure an endpoint to call when it has completed its process, and therefore letting us know that the transcript is ready to pull rather than us checking every few minutes if the transcript is ready. Okay. So I'm going to tell Claude Code to use that. The transcript API allows us to configure a webhook as per the documentation. Create a new workflow that accepts the details from the transcript API and returns the transcript when it is posted to the webhook. Okay. Now, if you remember our initial design, we said we're going to call the transcript API, okay, and it's going to grab the video and return it back via a webhook to us, right? And then we're going to use that transcript to create a carousel, which is basically our content, right? And then we are going to post that content out to wherever we want to post it, all from this transcript, which is from that video, right? So the webhook is in our original architecture. So we are going to now get Claude Code to set that up for us, okay? And that's what I've said here, right? So give me a new webhook that I can configure in the transcript API on my dashboard where the transcript will be sent, okay, when ready. So let's see what Claude Code says. It should give me a couple of files now to work with. There we go. So it's happy that we're using the webhook feature. It's much cleaner than polling. Okay, it's going to create two workflows now. One, which is the existing one, is going to update it to receive the YouTube URL that we will pass it in. It's going to queue that job and immediately respond with the job ID. Okay, right, this one here. And the second workflow, which is a new one, is going to be a webhook that the transcript API posts to when the job is complete. And we will give the transcript API on my dashboard this new webhook that Claude Code creates. Let me go to the transcript API and show you. This is the documentation. Now, let's see. Where does it talk about webhooks? Here we go. Instead of polling for job status, configure a webhook to receive notification when the job is complete. Okay? And this is information that it will be posting to that endpoint. Okay? This is our endpoint that we are now going to get Claude Code to configure for us. So if I go back to my dashboard, you will see there is a place where I can put my webhook. And then when this transcript API completes the job to transcribe the video that we pass through the API, it'll post that information to our webhook, our endpoint. And that's what we are now getting Claude Code to develop for us. So we don't have to poll, okay? So this is our initial workflow. It's saying go and update it. And then this is the new one. So let's go back to workflow. And I'm going to get out of execution, go back to the editor. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to import a new file. And this, in fact, what I should do before that is just delete everything here. Select or delete, then I'm going to import. Okay. And it's this one here, our original one. Now it's much smaller. It just queues the job and responds. I'm going to activate that. And I'm going to, it's already saved. Now I'm going to create a new workflow. Okay. Import from file using the new file that Claude Code has given to me. There it is. Now we don't need this one. And I should have opened a new one first. Actually, what I'll do is I will close this and open a new file before I've imported the workflow in the same workflow, which is not what I want to do. So I'm just going to close this. I'm going to leave without saving because I don't want to import the second workflow in here. And create a new workflow now. And now I'm going to do import and use Claude Code's new file. There we go. I'm going to rename this. This is going to be receive transcript. That's what I'm going to call it. Okay. Now I'm going to activate that and it will save automatically. It's already saved. I'm going to double click here because I need the link to this endpoint so that I can put that in my transcript API dashboard so that the transcript API dashboard posts the transcript to this endpoint once the job is completed. So double click, get this link, that's it. And I'm going to go back to transcript API dashboard. I'm going to paste in the webhook. I'm going to hit on the create button. There we go. It's giving me a secret. So I'm going to give this to Claude Code, right? And I think it needs to do something with that. So I'm going to go back to Claude Code now. And I'm going to say, here is the webhook secret from the transcript API. Okay. And I also have to give it the link as well. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, here is the webhook URL. Now I can just grab that from my dashboard. Where is it? Maybe, oh, here we go. Okay, I'll copy that, go back to Claude Code. Okay, so there we go. Now it probably needs to update the workflow because it needs to do a couple of things. Okay, so webhook test. Okay, that's not production. Okay, let me, well, I guess it doesn't matter. I think I did not click on production here when I got this. And there we go. So I'll just copy the correct link. I will go back. In fact, it doesn't really matter, but I will go back into my dashboard and say I need to update the URL so that it's not test. Now I've updated the URL. Looks like the webhook secret is the same. I might just regenerate secret. Yep. So, okay. Now I'll give these things to Claude Code again. So I will say new webhook secret. You'll have to redevelop the files. New webhook prod link. Get that from the dashboard. And that's this one here. So we won't use the test links. We'll actually use the live links. And there we go. Okay. So I've given Claude Code the new webhook secret and the new webhook link, which is the production link. It's going back now and it's updating the workflow. Okay. So re-import the receiver workflow, activate and then let the Claude Code know. So let's go back to this workflow and deactivate it. We will re-import the file. There we go. Oh, I always forget to delete existing workflows. All right, re-import the file. Okay, there we go. And reactivate it. And it's already saved. So this is where the changes were made, right? Claude Code added a security checkpoint here. That's what the webhook secret is used for because anybody can call this endpoint, right? anyone that knows that URL, anybody watching my video, because I've shared this already by double clicking here, you can see that link. That means anybody can send data to that endpoint. Okay, and therefore this little process here verifies that whatever is sent in here also has a signature using the webhook secret. Okay, now I've also shared the webhook secret in this video as well, but I'll obviously recycle that, okay, for security reasons. So now we have an endpoint that the transcript API will call automatically when the job is complete. Okay, so let's go back to Claude Code, and I want to make sure the original workflow we created has the same URL. I'm going to grab that for Claude Code. So I've just copied the link to the original workflow that I want Claude Code to test with. So I'm going to say re-import done. Okay. Here is the link to original web request, now updated with new file that just queues the job and returns the job ID. Okay. Test with the same video as before, which I don't even know what video we used before, but there we go. So it should now call our workflow and get back a job ID. That's how we will know if it's successful. Okay. We should also be able to see it in executions that it's running. There we go. It's already ran, looks like. Let's have a look. That's not the one. It's probably this one here. Yep, that's the new one. It's already run and it's already responded. Okay. And it's already sent back a job ID. Okay. And we can see the status is pending. Now, let's go back to Claude. See what it says. The response was instant this time. Now we wait for the transcript API to post the completed transcript to your receiver webhook, which is this. You should see the execution appear in your n8n instance when it arrives. Check the execution log in n8n once it comes through and let me know when it does. All right, so let's now go back here. I'm going to open the other workflow that's waiting for the transcript to arrive. That'll take some time. So there it is there. I'm going to click on executions, and there's no executions here. So now we just wait for the job to complete. Now we can always go and go into Claude Code and say, give me the status of the job as it stands now. And it'll actually go and call the status endpoint for that job using the ID that it got from the original request to check the status. And this is the command it's using. Right? It's got the job ID, okay, because the job ID was given to it when it sent the first request to queue the job, right? And previously, we would have to continuously call this check status endpoint with the job ID to understand the status of the job. As you can see, it's pending. Okay, it was created a minute ago. But now, you can see the transcript API that can take up to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to say check every 5 minutes. Actually, there's a new command, and I don't remember what it's called. I'll just say it anyway. I think it's called loop. Loop, there we go. I forgot to put the command. Anyway, I'll just say check every 5 minutes for the status. There we go. So it's already understood what I'm trying to say. It's saying do this, right? But I'm going to say, look, loop that for 5M. Okay? Check status of transcript job. There we go. We don't need to put in the job ID because it should know what we're talking about. Okay? That's a new command inside of Claude Code where you can schedule tasks. It's only valid for the current session. All right, so every 5 minutes it's going to check this, and we'll tell it we don't need it for that long. But anyway, we're going to end the session in the video, so it'll terminate this request anyway. So I'm going to pause this recording and let this go and do its thing, okay? And basically, I'll see the job running, but it's not going to run until the job completes in the back end, right? That transcript API runs on a different machine, and it processes as jobs come in, and it takes some time because it's throttling every request from the internet, okay? So we'll wait and see to make sure this runs, and you can now see that we really don't have to wait for anything in terms of we don't now poll. I'm only polling here to show you that we can check status. But the transcript API will automatically call our workflow, our receiver, right? And then it'll process the transcript and send it back to us, okay? And let's see. Yeah, this sends back the transcript, okay? So we'll just wait now, and I'm going to pause the recording until this is triggered, and then we'll continue from there.